Today we're going to learn how to cast on for our knitting projects, and you always want to start with a slip knot. So just cross it over your 2 fingers and slip knot. You want your knot end on one side and your thread slips through the loop on the other, and this creates your slip knot. Pretty much all knitting cast on starts with a slip knot, so you want to get pretty good at that. And then when you put it on your needle, you have your working side that is this leg of the loop, and then you have your knot side, which is this fixed side of the loop. The fixed side of the loop goes on the front of your needle. Then hold your tail off to one side so you don't get it confused with your working end. And your needle, you'll come in behind this first leg, cross your needles over like this, wrap your working yarn around, wrap your working yarn around your needle, and you'll pull through like a knit stitch. Don't pull this stitch off your needle. Add this one to it. Now you have this fixed leg in the front and your loopy movable yarn in the back. So once again, go through the front leg of your loop, crossing your needles over, loop this yarn around your back needle, and pull it through, crossing those loops over like this. Add that to your needle, and you've now knit cast on 2 stitches. We'll do a couple more of those. And this is the knit cast on method because you're knitting your stitches. Pull it through, cross the loop, and slip it back onto your needle. Work this front leg. Wrap your working yarn around, pull through, and add to your main needle. We now have 4. And this cast on method is good for fixed edges like cuffs. It gives you a nice knit finished looking edge on a cuff. And there are actually 2 other methods of casting on stitches that I'd like to show you. And they start with a slip knot. This one we actually need a lot longer tail. It's called the long tail method. So for however many stitches that you're wanting to cast on, you'll need about 3 times the length of yarn. So we have all this yarn, and we're going to start right about here with our slip knot. And you always want the slip part of the knot to be your working end of thread. So not working end, cross them over, pull your working end through your loop, and that gives you a slip knot where this thread slips and this one is a knot. For a long tail cast on, you have your working end of your yarn attached to your ball, and then you have your tail end of yarn that is just loose. Take the working end of yarn around your index finger and your tail end of yarn around your thumb. So it should look like this on your hand. Hold on to this thread and this thread kind of with your pinky or palm. Just hold on to them there. Okay, and then we will go under the tight thread that comes around the front of your thumb. Pick up the thread that goes around your index finger, and then pull this loop that was on your thumb off so you have one stitch. We'll do this again a couple of times. You go under the front thread on your thumb, twist your needle around so that you're going behind the thread that was on your index finger. Take your thumb loop and pull it off of the needle so that it secures your index finger thread. No, over, around, and through. Under, around, through. Under, around, and through. And that is how you complete a long tail cast on, and it has a very tight, however tight your tension is, cast on. There's nearly no stretch here between our stitches. The last cast on method is quite simply easiest cast on method, but it doesn't provide a firm finished edge. So we make our slip knot one more time. Knot side on one, slippy side on the other. With our knot side on the front and our slippy side on the back. Hold on to your tail end. So it's just sitting on your needle like this. And then what you want to do is loop this yarn back on itself. So you have this leg of yarn, it loops around, comes forward, and your needle goes through the loop. Now you've cast on one stitch, and this is the loop cast on method. So we just loop the yarn back on itself, and it provides one stitch, and these can be as tight or as flexible, as long between the stitches as you need them to be. And if you do it, if you do it very tight, you'll have nearly no stretch. If you do it very loose, you'll have a lot of stretch. But this is the simplest or loop cast on method, and you just keep doing this until you have the required number of stitches for your pattern. And it just provides a little bar edge in case you need to knit back into this again from the other direction. And you just keep looping those on.